John
Part of the
had to
concert
go
later.
and get his microphone or his.
Okay.
fixed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Aloha. Check. Okay, we should be good.
I'm sending you the mics.
Yeah.
Sending the mics back.
No. I'm just sending from the computer. So if anyone else logs on, right? Yeah. So we do want any feedback there. All right. So check. So that looks good. And I'm gonna have everyone shift down because. So Doug, how do you want to do
Just one seat, right? 2 seats.
2 or 3, and then I'm going to adjust the camera so we get more of a picture. So,
Well, hello, and thank you for coming to the. Yeah, that's good. Sending the mics back to you. The mics. Check one. Hey.
The question.
Let's have
topics.
Let's have you guys all move over this way.
We'll move down.
Yep. Well, you can look right up there. That gives you an idea of what you're doing. Hello, everybody. This is the live broadcast for the OokTown Podcast. We're just gonna sit and talk about ukulele because that's what we like to do. And sometimes we wear flip flops and hats.
Ooh.
Nakamura.
They're ready for tonight.
Oh yeah, we're fired up. We're fired up. And we know that you're not going to play the secret song because you had to come to this Friday, the Friday strum along. If you wanted the secret song, we're not going to talk. Don't think about the secret song because if you want to think about the secret song, you could probably. Is that online? Could they go back and watch
actually,
that?
you can watch it on our. We have a replay of Aloha Friday Live Jam.
Very good.
And watch the secret
So you
song.
could go back and find out what the secret song is, but
you wouldn't have seen it live though.
yeah, it wouldn't have been as awesome as it was if you were there. Exactly.
It was so live. You could feel you could have gotten sweat coming from Aaron. When he moved and stuff.
Well, he was sweating.
It's
It's
a rare moment.
Great. Good time, yeah. Just flown in. So
But yes, indeed.
I had a couple of cups of Earl Grey.
Oh, look, everybody's in the shot.
The
It's
music
nice.
starts to play itself.
All right.
Well, hello and welcome to the UkeTown Podcast. My name is Stuart Yoshida, and
Hi, Stuart.
and we're here today. We're going to talk about how great Stuart Yoshida is.
That's you, right?
Exactly, me, Stuart Yoshida. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Hey, all right. So you guys didn't hit the mini blizzard that we had on Wednesday. You got here after that, right?
Yeah, we got here Thursday morning.
So for those of you not in Colorado, we did have snow on Wednesday. So, but as I remembered if you go back and watch the replay on Friday, you'll hear this story again. That the first time Adrian saw Aldrine, holy mackerel! It's
We've
been
been
that
friends
kind of
for
day.
like almost 10 years.
Yes,
man.
indeed. That's
I
crazy.
know your name, Doug.
I know.
Stuart.
Hey,
Stuart.
Stiller.
What?
Stiller Yoshida? I'm trying to mispronounce everybody's name now.
doing great. Doug.
You're the tallest Asian I've ever seen, Stuart.
Well, it's the hat that
Oh,
really.
okay.
Mostly in the hat.
Exactly. But the first time you saw falling snow was
Yes.
here in Colorado. That wasn't clumped up on the ground and full of dirt. The way you tell that story is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, without further ado, now introducing Stuart Yoshida.
Aloha.
Did I get that right?
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown Podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. I have to say that because we're broadcasting too. So in case anyone is watching us, just to let them know, we may, if we're lucky, we might have a guest appear on the screen here behind us, but we will see. And we just have some awesome guests here. it's always stressful for me with the live broadcasts here from the Denver Ukulele Festival, but I am doing my best here with my co-host Doug, who is where are you going, Doug? Doug is he's back there. Never mind. He's helping out. He's helping out with the front of house sound. Okay, so I want to just quickly introduce all our guests. We'll start right here with Aldrin Guerrero of Ukulele Underground.
Aloha. Hello, everyone.
He is one of our favorites. How many times have you been here to the Ukulele
I
Festival?
think maybe 4 or 5 times.
Not enough.
Not enough. That's what we say. And Aaron
Nakamura.
Nakamura. Aaron Nakamura.
Nakamura.
Nakamura. Thank you. All right. Welcome. And now my namesake, Stu Fuchs. This is awesome to have Stu. Yay!
Yay!
Because he spells his name the same way I do. Yay!
Happy to be back here. It's my 3rd time. The frequent flyer cards.
Nice.
Or something.
Awesome. And then down at the end, we have another regular, Casey Cormier.
Yay!
Casey, yay!
Right.
He's trying to fit a piano in his apartment.
One of these days.
One of these days.
Ukuleles first, right?
Yeah, but you just picked up a nice Makala baritone, so that is awesome. All right, well, we've got a full agenda. I think Doug said there's too many things on here, so don't worry about it. But I do want to, so we're going to have more than enough. You just tell us when to cut off. I want to give a couple shout outs, though. First of all, to Ben Hassinger of the Mighty Uke Day Festival. We wish you a speedy recovery. He couldn't join us, but he does so much for the community out there in Lansing, Michigan. So we wish you well, Ben. I want to also give a shout out to new patron Michael Cohen of the Culver City, the CC Strummers out in Culver City Senior Center, led by Callie Rose. And they did a new video, We Will Uke You, which is to We Will Rock You. I'm going to put that in the show notes, so check that out. Also, a new patron, George. I know I'm going to mess up your last name, so sorry, George. Anzavillanol. No. Okay.
That's pronounced Smith.
Is that from Boston?
I don't know.
Anzavino?
Maybe that's it. Who said that?
There's a George Anzavino who's a great fan of the ukulele, great music teacher and percussionist in Boston.
Maybe that's it.
That looks right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anzavino?
Could be. All right. So, George, thanks for becoming a patron. Hey, they did a fundraiser for the Ukulele Kids Club and raised $12,500.
Wow.
So, shout out to them.
Yay!
And then finally, give a shout out to Danielle and Victor and Penny. They are doing another Thunderstruck Ukulele Academy. I went to that. The first one is awesome. If you want to be a performer and learn all kinds of ins and outs and actually be in a really great, safe environment to perform, check it out. The coming November 7th to the 9th is their workshop up in Fort Collins.
Yeah, it's a very safe environment. No open flames or
nothing.
chainsaws or anything. It's awesome.
You don't even have to wear an asbestos suit. All right, so let's dig right in. I had a question from a patron, George, actually. So he wanted to know, how much freedom do you guys have when you guys go touring, like the ukulele festivals? Is it pretty much, you just come off and check your list, or is it just you wait for people to contact you, or you contact them? What's it like? So we'll start with Aldrin.
Lately they've been contacting us, and with us being from Hawaii, it's kind of tough to be like, hey, bring us over to wherever it is, you know, like we can't just demand stuff, it's tough for us to be like, pay for our flights and our hotels and then pay us again, so it's tough, and we just kind of sit around and wait. But it's a bit tough because when you sit around and wait, it's like, why is nobody calling, so it's that same thing. So I mean, it's always nice to hear from Denver UkeFest, and that's what we've been doing this for apparently 8 years now. So, and it's always fun. We always love coming out here. Yeah. So to all of you folks watching at home, if you have a ukulele festival you want us, please call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Email.
Yeah, email us.
Yeah.
Email us.
All right, and we'll have the link in our show notes too. Stu, what's it like for you back? You're back east? Is that where you're?
Yeah, I live in Vermont. I live in the backwoods of Vermont, close to the New Hampshire border. We call it the Shire.
Oh,
So
I used to live on Shire Court. There's actually a street.
did you?
Yeah,
Was it green?
it was pretty green. yeah.
Pastoral.
Little huts, you know.
You're the tallest hobbit I've ever seen.
Yes. My hobbit shoes. Yeah, there's similar to what Aldrine was saying. Mostly I'm invited now. I tend to just sit back and wait for things to come, and that's just the way I like to allow just be in a receptive place instead of pitching myself. That's usually what I do.
Okay. Casey.
I'm the local yokel. So, Denver represent.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And so I don't do a lot of touring because my main job is teaching, but I play bass, so I don't have to pick up the phone much. I get calls to play all over. If you want to go out for some bluegrass and beers tomorrow, Station 26, 12 to 3 up in Northeast Denver. So, that's kind of my thing. I just play around the Front Range and haven't been to enough ukulele festivals.
Yeah, look, but a pro tip to all you people out there: if you want to have steady gigs, play the bass. They are always in demand. I don't know why, but it really is true. And
Well,
good bass players.
so the council isn't getting ready to do their multinational tour?
Not yet. We're actually pretty new. So this is one of our bigger gigs right now. Tonight will be the opening act. So
Well, know that I do pyro, so when you need that.
sweet. Yeah, we'll call you, Doug. We need you.
I don't have a license, but
Our progressive acoustic sound needs that.
All right, so I wanted to jump into kind of your take on cover songs. I think one of the biggest things, and if you guys cover this in a workshop, give a shout out to the workshop you do. It's just figuring out, like, how do you pick out the signature sounds, the signature things that, if I'm going to do a cover song, I want to do this so that it sounds like they know right away, when we're out in the lobby and someone started playing Drop Baby Drop, it's like I knew the song right away, right? But there's something about the rhythm or the chords, So what do you guys do to figure that out?
There's usually like riffs, like iconic riffs. As soon as you hear that riff, I mean, just off the top of my head, if you're wondering, like, or if somebody plays like While My Guitar Gently Weeps, for example, or even Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven is one of the most iconic riffs. You can play that on guitar, you can play that on ukulele, you can play it on the flute, and people will know it's Stairway to Heaven. So it's those things that kind of keep a cover song still like recognizable, but beyond that is what you have to do and what you have to add as an artist to make it your own. Because it's, if you're gonna play it note for notes, drum beat for drum beat, bass line for bass line, it's like I might as well just put on the CD and listen to the CD,
Right.
So it's a bit tough in that sense as an artist to make it unique and make it our own.
Cool. Aaron, you want to add to that?
Yeah, basically just from the song, whatever sticks out in your head when you think about that song, make sure that's in it definitely, and then everything else is free game.
Reinterpret.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Stu?
Yeah, I like to find that, like Aldrine was saying, find that characteristic riff. I'm a big fan of trying to put the vocal melodies, usually what I have as the foreground. So I like to keep the vocal melody as clear, and even if possible to put some of the nuances, like if Bob Marley sings I remember, I try to go and try to really make it clear, and then the rest of it I'll do whatever. Another thing is trying to find the right key. I think key is key. And something that maybe the original is in the key of D, but on the ukulele, maybe on the guitar it would sit great, but when you're taking a guitar piece from the key of D and putting it on the, it may not work so well. So yeah, finding out which keys and which positions allow you to use the open strings and things like that. I could talk from now till next Tuesday about this stuff. I love the game. Yeah, I do a little making chord solos and the joy of the drone note. Like having a drone note somewhere in your arrangement is a wonderful thing.
I Agreed. With everything. I would say that also in the jazz world, there was something we always studied was the last 8. So the last 8 bars of any piece you're playing contains kind of that signature melody usually, and it's a good intro for your song. So you can kind of, if you have a song that doesn't have a riff, if you're playing something like, let's see, It's Only a Paper Moon. That's really the final 8 right there. You just put that into your playing somehow, and then you're ready to sing. So you can kind of create intros if you know the last 8 of a melody.
Oh wow,
That's interesting.
that is a good tip.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
That's the kind of value you get with the OokTown Podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about mixing genres. Thanks to Doug, I started looking around on the internet for different versions of AC/DC songs. Yay! And there's a bluegrass version, and I was like really blown away. I mean, these guys were like heavy bluegrass, but then they're playing Thunderstruck. Have you seen that?
Is it Steven Seagal's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those guys are awesome live.
Really?
I've seen them a couple times.
Are
Those
they for
guys are
real,
super.
or, I mean, they
Oh
look,
yeah, they're awesome.
they look like real yokels, and I mean, not in a pejorative way, but you know what I mean? Like they're driving around tractors.
Way to bring it down, Stuart.
You have to get
Alienate your-
certification to be a yokel in Vermont. I mean, there's a process you have to go through.
Is
A lot
that
of
right?
paperwork.
Are they from the East Coast too, or something? I don't
No,
know.
they're from like Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, they're not from here.
Oh, no kidding.
So way to offend somebody who's not from here.
No, I just
Now
lost
the
a bunch of
OokTown versus Steven Seagal's
Wow.
battles begins right
Okay.
here.
Wow. So they're not even from. So they play bluegrass really great for being from Norway.
See, this is where normally I would be typing, but yeah, why don't you talk amongst yourselves?
All right. Let's get the information. All right. So the question I had is, so if you're going to do a cover song, but you're going to do it in a different genre, then what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, it helps to be versed in that genre, whatever you're going to be, doing into. And growing up in Hawaii, like being from like kind of a tropical state, we do a lot of like reggae covers to everything. If you ever turn on any radio station in Hawaii, there's guaranteed going to be either a reggae song or a reggae cover song. Troy Fernandez was here last night, and growing up, like I actually didn't even know the original versions of the cover songs that he did, but he did mainly like kind of Hawaiian style reggae versions of a lot of songs. Like, for example, I didn't know Brown Eyed Girl was by Van Morrison. I thought Brown Eyed Girl was by Troy Fernandez. And like a lot of things like that. So I kind of grew up like turning basically everything into that chaka. So like I just chaka everything,
Okay.
And so Ukulele Underground, our bread and butter, is teaching people how to chunka or chunka. So it's a lot of fun, but it's also good because you kind of put your own stamp on it. Because even though we kind of do things in a more like island reggae kind of way, it's still, you can still put your own personal vibe to it and how you play it.
Yeah, I think that the key, but then the tricky part is in how do you incorporate back some of those signature riffs or things so that people recognize it?
Well, you kind of have to play around with the rhythm. Well, like going back to Stairway to Heaven, that's a rock song, but you can totally turn it into an island reggae song, and based on this example, and you just kind of have to play around with the rhythm and make sure that the riff, the iconic riff. Remember when we said when you're doing cover songs and stuff, that riff is still there, but you have to make it kind of fit with whatever genre that you're doing.
Cool.
In Finland, where Steven Seagal's are from, that's what they do there too. So they would agree with you.
Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Just I guess being well versed in the genre, usually you're gonna pick something that you know well.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times, like, because on our podcast, the Ukulele Underground podcast, we do a thing every few weeks. We'll do like a songwriting challenge, and so we'll pick some things that need to be in your original song, and one of them is usually a genre, right?
Yeah.
We'll choose a genre, like this next challenge we're gonna do what's gonna be
Disco.
disco.
Disco. See, there's a
so
good
we're
one.
gonna have to figure out how to write a disco song.
I want you to do disco version of an AC/DC song.
Yeah.
You should check out those guys from Norway.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at AC/DC.
No, that was corrected already.
Finland. Yeah, Finland.
Finland.
But yeah, so usually when we're doing something like that, I'll just listen to a bunch of something from that genre, and then from that you kind of come up with your own idea of what the song is supposed to be like. So if you're doing an original song, it's just a bunch of like digesting all of that information or all of those examples and then coming up with something new. And then when you're doing a cover song, it's doing the same thing. You're just taking in a bunch of influences and then taking a song that already exists and kind of molding it into something similar to your examples.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Stu, it looks like you were about to like really be all over this. What's your view?
I'm just excited, I guess, talking about this. It's a great subject. This might just be my point of view, but I like to throw all rules out the window. If it's a heavy metal song, do it as a polka. See what happens.
Yes.
So no rules, and you can see by the chuckles, it's going to be a hit already, right? So it's so fun to do that, to just genre swap. For a long time, I was part of a free jazz improvisation collective, and we would play all kinds of improv games. And one of them, we would put different styles in one fishbowl and names of tunes in another fishbowl. So you'd pick thrash metal, Madonna.
Yeah.
And then there was sometimes on other nights when certain folks were there, we would have another bowl for time signature.
Oh.
So I picked 5/4 once. And so we did a version of Material Girl that was in 5. So and then on the choruses, we searched 6. It kind of had a little bit of a swing sound. So the genre was being changed a little bit from the 80s pop that Madonna made. But it's still, I think what really changed it was the rhythm. So it was a bit like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some boys hug me, some boys love me. I think they're okay. And don't give me proper bed. I just walk away. And then the chorus, everybody's living in a material world. And I am a material. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And so little things like that can just change things up.
I think that's a really brilliant idea, for people who want to make cover songs but in a different genre. Just get the fishbowl thing and that's pick out from each, and then you as an exercise.
Wait, if you take the fish out, they're gonna die.
Right. That's what
we use a hat. We can use the Denver.
You got to take the fish out of your hat. Yeah.
It gets wet. Really.
Wouldn't that be
Do you
awesome,
know where they
though?
never disrespect the fish, though, is Norway.
Norway. Is that where they have
Finland.
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 Geez, there we go again.
Finn.
Also.
Finish. All right.
Well, and I would say, and I agree with everything that's been said. You got to be creative. You got to be willing to experiment. And then also think of the reverse. I just led I teach at a high school around here, and I led my high schoolers in their ensemble in performance last night. And we learned the song Mad World, the Gary Jules. And, but we learned that version, but I played for them the Tears for Fears version first. And that is a whole different feel. And what they did after 20 years later with that song, where they took it and they put it really starkly on the piano, made that line. And I mean, it makes it a whole different emotional feel, that song, right? So realize you can go the opposite way too. There might be some, Metallica song that you love and you're like, I can't play thrash on my uke, but I could make this like the Leonard Cohen version of Battery, right? Enter light.
I like it.
Oh, and you can play heavy metal on your uke, by the way.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
That's right, Doug.
It's all possible, is really.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, but I've been pushing this idea of, we talked about how to get gigs for the ukulele festival circuit. And I think it'd be really great if we had like a ukulele festival co-op or consortium, because there's a couple big ukulele festivals. I think Denver is one of them. Reno. Oh, I'm sure I can't think of the one out in California, but there's what's the one Daniel Ho is associated with?
LA UkeFest.
LA UkeFest. Yes, thank you. Gnuff over in the UK. So
Mighty UK.
Yeah. So I think that would be a cool thing, and I don't know how you would start that, or what would be. Maybe we need to talk to people or get them together. But I mean, I know some of the organizers. Mary Agnes Krell is a patron and a regular guest, and I've mentioned it to her, I think. But what are your thoughts? I mean, is this something that would be interesting to you guys, or just no? It's pretty good the way it is.
Definitely. I mean, out of all the ones that you named, so we've only really done Denver. We've never done Gnuff. We've never done LA UkeFests and stuff. So it'd be nice, to, for us to be kind of exposed to other festivals as well. So if there's some kind of co-op with the festival organizers, that would be awesome. But as far as how people kind of would get started, because something like LA and Denver UkeFest, so maybe one of them can pay for like for the flights, and the other one can pay for or just kind of half those
That's
expenses.
Exactly, yeah. And we have another guest on, Gerald Ross. You probably met.
Yeah, I know Gerald. Yeah.
And he's mentioned
Swing
that
Master
too.
Gerald.
Yes, he is. And he mentioned this too, that it would be really great. You can kind of coordinate schedules. So you cost share the flights, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's instead of bringing them over, one at a time, it's like, okay, you're on the mainland anyway. We just fly you from LA to Denver, Denver to wherever.
And it would be good too, because in between, I mean, there's a big gap between LA and Denver, so that would be really nice to see if what other clubs are along the way, like that we could kind of hit before hitting Denver, say coming from LA. But I think one of the biggest obstacles is trying to coordinate them at the appropriate amount of time, because it would have to be maybe like a week away from each other, so that it makes sense, because it doesn't make sense to keep us like for a month in the mainland, and then the next festival is a month later. So that part of the coordination might take a little bit of work.
Right. Yeah. So Stu, your thoughts on?
No thoughts really. I'm not sure if I understand the concept clear enough to comment.
Well, it's more like if this consortium of ukulele festivals knows that an artist is going to be touring, so to speak, then they could coordinate and share flight. Instead of everyone paying to fly them back and forth from wherever you are, they would say, let's cost share the flight trips, right? And so you're flying out anyway. Well, next stop here, and then you fly you home.
Yeah, I love the idea, and it sounds like it would save resources for festivals, and also save the energy of the performers and the teachers, if you're already out here, especially if you're coming all the way from the middle of the Pacific.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think the only thing is this, sometimes when an artist is performing or appearing in one region and it's too close to another one, then you get the saturation effect. So that would be the balance, I think, to try not to saturate too much, Maybe not play Bakersfield and then LA and then San Luis Obispo, unless you have that kind of audience. The Rolling Stones could do that; people would show up. But
So basically, the Live Nation of ukulele acts.
Of ukulele. There, I like that.
Maybe we could get a Ukepalooza tour someday. That would be
Ukepalooza. I would be there
concert,
for that.
Get 5, 7 or more folks, and then we'd go to different locations. That would be an interesting concept too.
Oh, I have that's coming up next. I have this idea next.
Jump in the gun.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do pyro, so we book that.
Really, we can't afford the insurance, Doug. Casey?
Well, it sounds like a great idea. I know a lot of some of the acts like Craig Chi, Sarah Mizell, and then Victor and Penny, kind of traveling as duos and everything, and as couples as well too. They're able to kind of go from Denver to Fort Collins, to Chicago. They're able to travel around, but obviously they have a hard time bringing their bands. So. Right. I've played bass for both of them because they'll just call me up and be like, can you learn our stuff?
Well, that's another.
I really got to play bass.
Yeah.
Another reason.
I really got to learn how to play bass.
But the big thing is that, it's hard to travel. I know for them that it's like, okay, we're going to try to get to the Las Vegas Ukulele Festival next weekend. On the way, can we stop at a few places in the mountains and play some gigs to keep paying the bills,
Right.
keep the money coming in? So as long as I think it accounted for that kind of flexibility that some people would say, we're going to opt to drive there and the rest of you can fly.
Well, see, and then
Meet you.
having a bass player available is, I think, would be really cool.
Every town has a bass player. You just got to
absolutely.
There's more of us than you think there are. You just got to call ahead.
Yeah, I got to learn how to play bass, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. Also, Mary,
My wife
call
is
us.
a great bass
We would
player.
love to do good enough.
Go ahead, Stu.
No, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, there he was self-promotion.
Talking to Mary. I know she's gonna watch the replay of this.
I'll put in a good word for you, Archie.
Oh, and
Awesome,
if
thank you.
G-Nup needs
I was
Pyro
just-
Guy.
I was only
Um,
doubling down on the greatness of bass
Yeah.
skills, and my wife plays a wonderful upright bass, classical and jazz bass, and it's difficult for her to travel. I know the U bass is an option, but she's been playing, conservatory style music on a proper upright bass, and for her it just feels very funny.
Doesn't
So I think that's another thing with bass.
Amen.
You got to strap it to the roof of the car, like.
You got to rent it in the town that you go to. Same idea.
Yeah, the good bass player is always. He said bass player I played with Calais Milo.
Gamiao.
Sorry, Calais.
He played bass? Calais played bass?
No,
He's
it
a
was,
ukulele.
he had
Oh,
this-
you played for Calais.
No, he was playing with Calais. It was a guy named Milo, I think.
Milo Fultz, yeah.
Was that right? Yeah,
Mhm.
he was amazing.
Good,
So
very
yeah,
good.
always a good bass player is great to have, and that's so valuable. All right, well here's the thing that you were kind of alluding to. Instead of Coachella, all right. Have you guys heard of the Joko Cruise? Anyone else? Woo! Okay, Joko.
Jonathan Colton.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a kind of a nerd cruise. Not kind
Well-
of, it is. It is a nerd cruise. Come on, let's be upfront about it. And he talks about, or actually Felicia Day talks about situationally famous, not recognized in the street, but superstars like you guys in the festival and areas where you're playing. Everyone goes, oh yeah,
Only Doug.
Aldrine, Stu, Casey, yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
Doug.
That's what I majored in college.
Celebrity.
Hype man.
He has a master's in awesome.
So it kind of in the same vein of co-op, maybe that you get a bunch of festivals together or organizers, and you have this cruise, kind of like what Sarah and Craig do, but like if you could book a whole ship of ukulele players, would that be unreal? And then the question would be, what would you do for a week? How I should have asked him last time, but if you had the chance and you could have a week to do like workshop or whatever you want to do, what would you do on that trip?
I would build a house.
Okay.
That's a loaded question. I mean, like, honestly, for myself, whenever I go to festivals, what I would like to see more of is like panels. Like I would like to kind of ask questions, kind of like this,
Yeah.
like ask the instead of like you coming up with the questions and stuff, like letting the audience kind
Yeah.
of come up with
That would be
questions to the artists themselves. Like I always kind of wanted to see more of that, so that's kind of something I want to see, and also like kind of. Not necessarily jam-alongs, how we have like kind of, okay, everyone play the same chord, but like having the artist be a little bit more accessible and kind of like, hey, I want to jam this song with you. So a cruise ship would be kind of perfect for that because, while they're stuffing their face or something with like the free buffet, like, hey, Calais Gummy, I would like to jam this song with you and put down your fork, please.
Who's next? Who wants to add on there? Go ahead, Stu.
Did you want to say something there?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. I've been on 3 cruises in my life, and all of them have been with Lil Rev. The ukulele
Woo!
cruises
Yeah.
we did. All 3 in the Caribbean. I don't know if we're going to do it again, but we did it 3 years in a row. It was great fun. the cruise ship atmosphere is, I mean, it's great in one sense. It's also, it depends. Everybody has a different physical reaction to how the food's agreeing with them. The roughness of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
The second year, we had to be rerouted. We were supposed to go to Punta Cana in Dominican Republic, and we ended up going to Puerto Rico instead. To go around a large tropical depression. And even though we went around it in a very safe way, the boat was just, and I'm in the middle of my set and I cannot find my balance. And then it took about 3 days afterwards. Now, I don't mean to be sharing too much TMI about my mind, my balance, but a terrestrial version of that could be really nice. That's all I'm saying. Because the cruise is fun, but some folks, it's not always.
I see. Okay,
easy.
Amtrak. How's that?
Amtrak.
I hear that meditation can help you with your balance.
It does.
I know that.
And the fluid inside the ear, just, if it's still moving around, it takes days till it's.
Oh yeah, no, I get seasick. Blackwater. All right. Well, Casey is.
I kind of agree with Stu. I mean, it could be. I've not loved being on cruise ships because of that kind of motion sickness type of feeling, But at the same time, there are plenty of people. I have a lot of friends who do jam cruises and stuff. They'll play those, and they have an awesome, really fun time. So yeah, I'm sure there's the market for it. It's just you might want to have that offered, and then maybe the land version.
The land version. The other thing that they talk about on these Joko cruises is that a lot of the programming, because it's such a huge audience, is actually driven by the participants, and they self-organize kind of in coordination with the main organizer. I think that would be a great thing to try out at local festivals. And I like the idea too of the panels. I think that's great. In fact, if we have time at the end, which I can just open it up. If you guys have questions.
It's 1:14.
It's 1:14. Okay, so Aldrin's coming up, but maybe we can.
I know the guy coming up next, so he's okay. He's okay. He's fine.
You put in a good word.
He's okay.
But we can, we can open it up to questions. If someone out there, look at this. All right, question.
This is a question. It's a brainstorm. How about Mississippi River Steamship featuring blues and jazz?
All right, Mississippi Steamship. Okay, but what about the ukulele season? Ukulele and cruise? Okay, yeah.
On a steamship.
Steamship.
Got it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like
You were pirates that way.
Theme,
Blackwater. Yeah. Ukulele, jazz, and blues on a steamship. I like it.
That sounds like fun.
That
sounds
would
fun.
be
Hey,
cool.
when you make that, know that I do pyro. So yeah, exactly.
So they right off the ship. Yeah, that would be great. Anyone else have? Yes.
When I go at high school, and they like to do the lock-ins, and so we watch Life on Four Strings, and we make pillows, and we make earrings, and we play music.
So-
arts part.
So you're thinking of having a ukulele lock-in and then have an artist also? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, with us, but I'm saying we could take the ukulele lock-in idea, which is 5 different kinds of ukulele activities on the ship.
Oh, okay. So
Or a steamship.
or a steamship. Okay, we can. Or a tree.
I like the treehouse.
And
Or
kind
a
of
bus to Albuquerque.
lock them off and have a lock-in kind of a theme there. Okay, cool. Do you have questions, Sue, for the panel?
I have a question.
All
Hey,
right.
Aldrin, why are you so cool?
Because I'm from Hawaii and at 45 degrees, I tend to get cold.
Yes.
You come to Denver or wherever, do you ever kind of save extra time to do anything?
All right. So
That
this
would
question,
be nice.
So the question is, just so that the YouTube audience out there. So when you come to Denver, do you plan extra time so that you can kind of tour the area?
Go to Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita.
Unfortunately, there often isn't enough time. It depends on the person and how much, if you have a young baby at home you need to get back to or a day job, it's not always easy. I toured for 3 years with an artist, Sonatum Kar, and when we would tour, we were playing halls with 3,000, sometimes 4,000 people in them. We were keeping a very rigorous schedule. Travel day, concert day, travel day, concert day. It would be Barcelona, travel to Moscow, concert in Moscow, travel to Finland. Helsinki is great, and they play great bluegrass there.
Finland.
So this rigorous schedule is hard to keep up. I always want to spend more time, but sometimes it's just not possible. The other thing, and I don't mean to be Bob Bummer here, but if you're traveling and you're self-funding your own tour, every day out is another day of gasoline. It's another day of food. It's another, got to figure out where you're staying and all that stuff. And it does add up pretty quickly. So love to spend more time. But I think there was the Billy Joel song, The Entertainer. I'd love to stay, but I just don't have the time. So it's kind of like that. So we try to squeeze in the quality time as much as we can, while we're here.
Sorry to interject. I just have to go set up for my workshop. But thanks for having me, Stuart.
Thank you, Casey.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Hey.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll take one more question, then we'll wrap it up. Any last question? Otherwise, I get the last. Oh, yes. Whose idea was the Aloha Friday
Whose idea
Jam?
was that? I don't know.
I missed that.
We usually have like collective ideas for Ukulele Underground. It's like someone will mention something and we're like, yeah, it seems pretty good, and we do it. So Aloha Friday Live Jam is a live stream that we do every Friday at 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. If you log on to our, I believe, YouTube channel, we have we have that live every Friday. So we jam, we put the chords up on the screen so you guys can follow along and stuff, and we just have fun. And in Hawaii, we have a saying that says, "It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday." So, like, since there's no work till Monday, we might as well welcome the weekend with some awesome jams. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks for
that
watching.
was great yesterday. So,
Yes, we had a
and
live
if you
one
were
yesterday.
there, you
Yeah,
got
we
to
did a
hear
live
the
one.
secret song. It was awesome.
He's trying to see if he can get us to play it tonight.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, Doug. I can't do that stuff on stage like I used to.
Well, we are running out of time, and to be courteous to the next artist, whoever that is, I want to wrap it up. So thanks so much, you guys. Stu Fuchs, so great to meet you.
Meet you too, Stu. Thank you. Ukulele Zen on YouTube. If you
Ukulele Zen, and I'll have a link in the show notes.
Thank
Aaron,
you.
great to have you back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nakamura.
Nakamura. Yeah, hey, you're a CSU grad, right? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yay!
All right. Cool. Woo! All right, and of course, Aldrin Guerrero.
Thank you. Thank you.
And my co-host, Doug Brown. And I am Iron Man. No, wait, I'm Stuart Yoshida, host of the
spoilers.
OokTown Podcast. Woo-hoo, thanks so much. And on three, let's all say aloha. 1, 2, 3.
Aloha.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Bum, bum, ba, dum, ba, dum. Okay, very good.